Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 148, Holm Gang. It took until after midday to fully ready the Holm Gangster. Hiccup remained within Gothi's hut the entire time, as she offered sacrifices and prayers for his protection. Hilda volunteered to do the same for the hopeless warrior. Astrid knew it was petty of her, yet she did not feel the fool deserved such kindness. Yet Hiccup insisted. He wanted a fair duel, a far cry from the moment Astrid thought he would draw his blade and run the fool through. Astrid would not have minded if Hiccup had. That fool bribed her father into dissolving the contract angered her. That he challenged Hiccup for her and called Hiccup a coward infuriated her. As her fury grew, so did the sound of a deep growl within her. It had shocked her at first, until Hiccup turned and smiled. He never spoke, just smiled, and then Hiccup heard a faint but growing purr. She had frowned until she realised the purr came from her. She would have to puzzle it later, as Gothi scribbled something in the dirt on her floor. Astrid looked down and then looked back to Hiccup, who had been told not to move again until after he had turned to her and smiled. Gothi had written runes of protection and strength upon him in ash, and she warned him to not disturb them with a swift shake of his finger and a narrow-eyed glare. "She wants to know who your second is." She would have to puzzle it out later. Gothi had scribbled something on the dirt on her floor. "She wants to know who your second is," Astrid said. "Toothless." Astrid blinked. "Hiccup?" "There is no law prohibiting a dragon from being a shield-bearer," Hiccup said. "The law only says the second has to be a tribesman of good standing and honour. Toothless is my brother. Dad placed his name in the Haddock's clan scrolls, and he is in good standing and has honour." Hiccup's eyes glittered in the firelight of Gothi's heart. "And I do not want you in the ring with that coward." A part of Astrid arose in protest. She was a warrior. She could handle such a fool. She wanted to be as Hiccup's side in this. She wanted to protect him. A good shield-bearer could legally trap and bend the duelist blade. Astrid would snap the fool's sword if given half a chance. "You are my queen," Hiccup continued, the draconic growl undercoating his words again, and causing tingles to slide down Astrid's spine. "Above all else, I would want you at my side in a fight. But if that coward touched you at all, he dies. Honour duel or no honour duel. I would gladly sever his head from his shoulders. But I have to let the law play out, Astrid. I have to let Hopeless keep some honour, if for no other reason than they did when Father called to help Alvin off their island." Astrid fought the urge to kiss him. The runes remained upon his skin, and Gothi still held her staff, ready and awaiting to use if need be. Astrid settled for gripping Hiccup's hand and squeezing it. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," Hiccup replied. Gothi tapped her staff against the floor, gaining both teens' attention. She pointed the staff at Astrid and then towards the door. Astrid sighed, but tipped her head in understanding. She squeezed Hiccup's hand once more before releasing it, standing and going to fetch Toothless. Gothi would want to perform the same sacrifices and prayers for him as well. She returned with not only Toothless, but also Gyda. Gothi did not bat an eye at the mage's appearance. She merely gestured for Toothless to move closer to her. Astrid regained her place beside Hiccup, claiming his hand once again. Gothi began her rituals with Toothless watching in silence, though Astrid knew the dragon would question everyone later. Gyda knelt in front of Hiccup, staring up at her with a thoughtful expression on her face. "Let neither fear nor anger cloud your mind," Gyda said softly. "Rely not upon your hands, your feet, your sword, your shield, or even your brother. Rely upon your mind and keep it clear, for in doing so, you will be one step ahead of your opponent." Hiccup stared at her in silence for several heartbeats. "Aye, Sensei." Gyda tipped her head and then stood. She placed her right fist into the palm of her open left hand and bowed to Hiccup. Hiccup released Astrid's hand. Both teens repeated the gesture, though only Astrid gave a half bow. Hiccup kept still in case he invite Gothi's wrath. "Brother," Sharpshot said, appearing at the door. "Dad said the place is ready whenever you are." Stoic smiled as his son flew into the Holmgangster upon Toothless's back. His smile grew as both of his boys chose to fly straight up once they reached the area. Everyone watched as Hiccup and Toothless seemed to drop from the skies. Stoic felt his stomach twinge, but he knew both of his sons were fine. They did this often and always came out unscathed. Stoic heard the Burkians watching and beginning to whoop and hollering as Toothless spread his wings and stopped the maddening drop right above the clouds' heads. The dragons, also watching, roared. Toothless roared back. Hiccup lifted his chin and gave a resounding call similar to Toothless's signature cry. The dragons sent whatever breath attack they used into a single point in the sky. Toothless landed in front of the crowd, lifted his head and fired one bolt. It detonated the others' attacks, causing a ring of vapour and a cluster of smoke and embers to expand out with a deafening sound of thunder that split the air. Stoic glanced at Gobber, who jerked his chin towards the hopeless warrior and his second, one of the other warrior men that came with Beata. Stoic looked over and smirked. Both men were staring at the dragons with a mix of fear and awe. Knowing his boy, Stoic could well believe that had been Hiccup's reasoning for the entire show. Stoic tilted his head when Hiccup dismounted, and then removed Toothless's saddle and tail fin. Both items were handed to Astrid, who stepped back to stand between Stormfly and Moondust. The rest of the bonded dragons and their riders curled around her. The mates of those dragons also stood with her. Stoic's smirk grew as Hiccup, carrying both shields he would use into the duel, and Toothless entered the roped-off area. Toothless lifted onto his hind legs once both reached the cloaks staked to the ground. Hiccup handed his brother the second shield. Toothless accepted it. That caused a reaction from the fool. "I win! No dragon can be second!" "The Treaty of Laws states tribesmen in good standing and with honour can be shield bearers," Hiccup stated. "It does not prohibit dragons. Toothless is a member of the Hooligan tribe. He is a member of Clan Haddock. He is my brother. His name sits in the record scrolls as a son of Stoic the Vast, chief of the Hairy Hooligan tribe." "But that law be as stated," Brynja said, glaring at his tribesmen. "And I be seeing Toothless's name added as Stoic's son with my own eyes," Steinar added, also glaring at the fool. "And as one of the judges," Padraig added, "I stand with the law. Toothless be Hiccup's second. The challenge be in the ring." Padraig continued as Gothi moved to stand at his side, and Beata moved to stand at Gothi's other side. "And the judges be in place. Does the one what issued the challenge forfeit, or does he get his rear to the ring?" The fool and his second moved into the ring. The fool seemed to take issue with Hiccup's stance. "He no be in proper form." "Boy be left-handed," Stoic stated. "Ain't no law in effect to make him fight right-handed." "But—" "Silence!" Beata hollered. "The law is the law. Hiccup be allowed to fight as he be trained. Shut your mouth and duel, or it be declared in Hiccup's favour, and you lose." The fool glared at Beata, but drew his blade. Hiccup drew his, and Stoic hid his grin behind his beard, the sun reflecting off the Gronkel Iron's sword in an almost blinding fashion. Stoic glanced at Gobber, who winked and grinned before leaning in closer. "Ain't no regular iron swords anymore," Gobber whispered. "All that iron be melted down for trinkets and amulets to sell to Johann. In per your order before Alvin leave to ever try his stupidity, all shields be reinforced with the Gronkel iron too." Stoic tipped his head before focusing back upon the duel. As law dictated, Hiccup, as the one challenged, struck first. The sword bit deep into the fool's shield, but it was still usable. The fool glanced once at Toothless, then swung. Stoic heard the fool's blade rattle against Hiccup's shield, and heard the growl Toothless could not contain. The fool paled. Easy, bud. Hiccup muttered. He has the right to swing at me in this. Hiccup swung again. His sword split the shield. The piece fell at the fool's feet. Stoic noted Hiccup shifted his hips with the swing, but made sure his feet did not slide back along the cloak. Hiccup felt pride swell. His boy knew far more than Stoic ever realised. Ogmunder's first shield be broke, Padraig called out. Switch! The fool glared at Hiccup, but did nothing more than switch shields with his second. His second now turned and left the ring, as his part was now done. Continue! The fool swung. The tip scraped a gouge. Hiccup's shield remained usable. Hiccup swung. The sword bit, but not as far as the first swing. Stoic frowned, worried that Hiccup was tiring. The fool tried from another angle. Another, deeper gouge. No call from the judges. The fool glowered. Hiccup swung. Sword bit again, but did not slice through. Stoic shared a glance with Gobber. The blacksmith did not seem worried. The fool swung harder. Hiccup grunted at the force. A hole appeared in the wooden part of Hiccup's shield. Padraig moved. Hiccup turned the shield. Padraig tilted his head. Shield usable still. The fool growled. Hiccup swung. Sword almost sliced through. Padraig stared. Shield's usable still. The fool smirked. You be weak. He growled. You're tiring. You ain't man enough for the lass. I be taking her. I be showing her a real man. Stoic's eyes narrowed. He heard many dragons begin to snarl. He glanced over, finding Astrid holding her axe's handle, but not drawing it. Stormfly and Moondust glared at the fool. Stoic turned back and blinked. Given Hiccup's actions in the plaza, Stoic expected his son to react to the fool's words. Hiccup and Toothless both glared, but said nothing. The fool snarled and swung. A bigger hole shone through the shield. Hiccup's first shield be broke, Padraig called. Switch! Hiccup wordlessly set the shield down. Toothless, his gaze never leaving the fool, released the shield he had as soon as Hiccup took it. He then gripped the broken shield, transferring it to his mouth. With one final glare to the fool, he leapt out of the ring. He dropped the shield by the judge's feet, but turned and faced the ring, teeth bared and a snarl echoing from his throat. Hiccup swung. Sword finally sliced the shield. Ogmunder's last shield be broke. He fights with just his sword now. The fool threw the shield out of the ring. He swung. Stoic grinned at the loud clang. That was not a regular Gronkle iron reinforced shield. That was Hiccup's personal shield. Hiccup swung. The fool parried. Gronkle iron snapped regular iron. Blade tip flipped end over end. Blood! Padraig yelled. Be blood on the cloaks. Hiccup wins the duel. Ogmunder, you be ready to pay Holmesling? He cheated! Ogmunder! Beata growled. Duel be won by Hiccup fair and square. Pay the Holmesganger or lose your honour. Weak! The fool snarled, staring at Beata. No, you not have it in you to rightly deal with them beasts, stand up, boy. The fool lifted his broken blade. Many yelled. Gobber ran. Stoic rushed forward. Toothless got to the fool faster. Stoic winced, remembering his own tumble with a dragon. Toothless snarled down at the pinned fool. Beata? Hiccup asked, sounding calmer than Stoic would have expected. He made his choice, Beata said. Kill him. Toothless did not miss. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Do not mess with this boy. Not to mention basically all of them smirking because they know his gear is better anyway. Idiot was running right for an inferno, saw the inferno, and kept running. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, my guys, gals, and non-mono pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.